Alright, I was going to do this off the cuff, and I'm probably going to most of it, but I do have a few notes here to get me through, so let's see what we got. Anyway, I'm glad to see all the people that I've met before. I'm glad to see Facebook friends, cohorts. Actually, I can't see anyone right now because I just have my glasses. But that being said, I'm happy to meet you that I haven't. I'm happy to see old friends that I haven't seen for a while. And I'm happy to see what's part of my family all here. And I'm Buddy Casanova. To the critters, I'm known as Uncle Buddy. So, with that being said, I'll give you a little bit of history of where Tommy and I came from. And that was, we became friends in 2nd and 3rd grade. He was a grade ahead of me, it was a split class. And his middle name should have been Mischief because that's what he started with from day one, and I'll give you a few little things on that. Our families go back further. Tommy's eldest sister Gail is good friends still to this day with my brother Eric. They just celebrated, I think, a 50-year high school reunion, or grader school, I'm going to say, right? Grader school. They're still buddies now. Vicky is good buddies with my brother Robert. They have been getting together still for quite a while, right? But it's been a while with the Kalins and them. Yeah, Kalins, sorry. Buzzy was the oddball out. He didn't have anyone in my family to hang out with. Julie was good friends with my sister Kathy, both at grammar school at Ravenswood School in Chicago, and then Lakeview High School in Chicago also, which is right down the street from Wrigley Field, for those of you that don't know that. So our families are really intermeshed and tight. So, as I said, I met Tommy in 2nd grade. He became a projector boy because he found out that we could get out of class that way, set up the projectors, and you know, the kids would watch films on life in Peru or life on the farm. We'd set up the projectors and we were supposed to sit there and wait. But he taught me we can cut out the back door, go down to Gene the Butcher and get a chicken steak or something like that while the film was still playing. The only time that Tommy didn't want to go to Gene the Butcher's was when they had those African natural, you know, when women were still top, sorry kids. But Tommy wanted to stick around for that for some reason. I'm watching those videos and I'm like, I just got something. So, that was that.
That's why National Geographic is.
That's the one, National Geographic. Thank you, that's a better way of saying it. So, we covered the family ties. Tommy and I, like I said, we went to school together. We worked at a pharmacy together for many years. Later on, we ended up having an apartment, one below the other on Ravenswood Avenue. We just were always doing it to hit for whatever reason. And there's a crew of 5 or 6 of us that we call the Hermitage Hot Dogs because we grew up on Hermitage Avenue. And they're all here in spirit or something. But we were always getting into some fun, trouble, mischievous kind of stuff, and Tommy was always the leader of it, whether it was ripping off a case of beer from the back of the Bluebird Tavern, or seriously, he'd climb over the fence because he was the smallest and he'd be able to wrestle it out, or jumping on roofs, getting chased by the cops, having the cops chase us deliberately, stuff like that. So, then I wanted to talk a little bit about probably what we've all experienced with Tommy a little bit at some point in time, and it is Tommy the Protector. As long as I've known Tommy, he's always been one that always watched out for everybody else. He was in high school, he knew about this, and so we're walking out of the cafeteria, they had these like glass doors with the chicken wire in the glass still back then. Tommy knew who this dude was, and Tommy goes up and kicks the door open, hits this guy in the face, and the guy's like, and Tommy's like, don't mess with this guy talking about me. So he was the protector early on. I'm going to try to make this a real quick story, but it's a beautiful one. We were all sitting on the porch, maybe 18, 19, 20 years old, drinking beers next door to your parents' house, and some of you know this story. It's the Big Raj story. And there was a party going on next door, but we weren't invited because we weren't cool. So the cool people were going to this party, and there were some gangbangers that came, And somehow one of my other buddies got into a wrestling match in front of the house with one of these gangbangers. And we're just sitting on the porch drinking beer, watching, and letting them fight fair. It was a huge dude. Tommy at the time was maybe 110 pounds. He was always a small dude until he wasn't. And this big dude comes right walking up and kicks my other buddy in the head. Well, my buddy and this other guy's friend are wrestling. And Tommy's like, Tommy's like, hey, leave him. You leave him alone. Let him fight fair. And I'm like, oh God, this guy's gonna squish Tommy. And the guy's like, what are you talking about? We're sitting on the porch, and Big Rod just pointing up at Tommy's like, I want you, motherfucker. I want you with the hands. And Tommy was wearing a Panama hat. And no flinch, no blink, nothing at all. Tommy goes, you want me, motherfucker? He takes his hand down, goes down 3 stairs, and smashes this guy right in the face. And I'm telling you, this guy was probably 385, 400 pounds. Falls back, and Tommy just kept hitting him like a jackrabbit. The guy's laying on the ground begging Tommy. He's like, it's cool, man, it's cool. I swear to God, this is true. And then Tommy's like, kicks him in the head. He's like, no, go home, motherfucker. True story, just to defend our friend Danny. And so that was a beautiful thing. It was. I mean, we couldn't believe it. We were all like, had Tommy on our shoulders. He was over here, as usual. He's always first to jump in for a good time. So let's see here. I'll have some mushy stuff in a second here. Not too big. Not too big. Who knows about? I got it right. Who knows about the toothbrush? You know about the toothbrush? Okay. Well, Tommy told me a few things. He said when he first moved down here to Cayuga, he's like, yeah, it's where they invented the toothbrush. Some of you may have heard this, right? He said, yeah, it's where they invented the toothbrush. I'm like, really? He's like, yeah, had it been anywhere else, it would have been a teeth brush. You guys can use that one. I meant no disrespect, but yeah. So that's like, yeah, he's always real good. So, speaking of toothbrush, do any of you know about the toothbrush salesman? Anybody? Real quick? Okay. This was one of Tommy's good ones. This is a story. Toothbrush company here in Indiana. They were looking for a new salesperson. Sales were down. They put an ad in the newspaper. And nobody was biting at the ad. Finally, some guy applies for the job. He fits all of the qualifications. Except the guy's got a terrible speech impediment. Again, no insult intended towards anybody. They're like, we can't have someone selling toothbrushes that's got a speech impediment. We'll hire him, we'll give him a ridiculous quota he won't be able to fill, and then we'll fire him. Guy comes in, they're like, you're hired. Today you have to go out and sell 500 toothbrushes. And he's like, 500 toothbrushes? I don't know, but I'll try. So he goes out, sells like 700 toothbrushes, comes back that night, they're like, ah, frick. We'll get rid of it tomorrow. And they're like, all right, tomorrow you have to go out and sell 1,000 toothbrushes. Sure enough, he comes back that night and he had sold 1,200 toothbrushes. Oh my God. So the next, they're like, tomorrow you have to go out and you have to sell 2,000 toothbrushes. He's like, 2,000 toothbrushes? I don't know, but I'll try. Hope you can understand my impediment. So sure enough, he comes back that night and he sold like 3,000 toothbrushes or something. And they're like, all right, you got to tell us how you're doing this. He's like, well, it's simple. I set up my stand in the mall. I put up a sign that says free dip, try some. So the people take a chip, try my dip, and they say, ooh, this tastes like shit. And I say, it is. You want to buy a toothbrush? That was one of Tommy's good ones. Sometimes I can't. So we'll get toothbrushes supplied a little bit later this afternoon. I can't run I'd like to say a few serious things about Tommy that I have experienced in my life. And it's probably probably why we've hung out as friends for so long, because I think we share a real common bond. And what I can say about Tommy is he practiced being kind to your fellow human, always. I mean, he could kick some real good ass, obviously. But he was always there for the underdog, and he always took care of those that were may have been different or were affirmed, and he was just always helpful to everybody. And that's kind of what our core group is all about. It didn't matter if people were black and white, straight, gay, a political affiliation that may differ. It didn't matter. You know, he always had his heart for everybody, and it kind of brings people together when you put all that shit aside. And I'm not going to get into all that right now, but it's something for us to keep in our minds. A few things that I learned when we were at the nursing home the last couple of months, and that was, and everyone can attest to it right here, everybody that worked at that nursing home or was a resident there, they all were all coming, flocking to him like they were going to Mecca or like they were going to see Jesus himself. Everybody had just such wonderful things to say about Tommy. Some elderly lady said that he would come in and brush her hair and wash her feet, and just to make her feel a little bit better, he would do these things. He would take the residents out on his day off and set up with the local yogurt shop to get all the residents free frozen yogurt in this little bus that they had. He didn't have to do that. He was doing it on his own time. He really, truly cared about all these people. And the staff were equally marvelous to us. They brought us pizza. They made cookies. And it was all because they loved Tommy, because he always made everybody feel special. You don't see that every day. And I think it's something that helps me sometimes, like when we were on the way up here yesterday, some guy was driving like an a-hole, and more than me, and I don't know, I forgot Mary or somebody said something, I said, maybe he's got diarrhea, needs to get home. You know, before I would have been like, wanted to throw a hatchet at that car, now I'm like, yeah, just go, it doesn't matter to me. So I'm learning some humility and some patience with people. That's about it. I love my buddy. I feel blessed to have had him in my life. He's been a wonderful uncle to my daughters. He's been a wonderful friend to my siblings, my family. Everybody always loved Tommy. He was welcome in my mom's house, in my brother-in-law's house, my sister's house. He helped us build some of their houses. We all lived together. And friendship, I think, like that comes around once in a lifetime. But I'm finding that if you're nice to people, you can get further in life. And Tommy taught me that. He taught me how to not be such a jaw. And that's what I got. So I love you, Tommy. I feel like he's here now. And only the flesh is gone. I believe the soul and the spirit are going to always be with us. So I'm really glad I had a chance to stand up here and spend a little time with you guys today. So God bless you all. Peace and love.